You've seen billboards around town urging you to visit Boys Town.
As Daybreak anchor Craig Negrelli learned, there is a renewed push at the village to get people to see the attractions and understand the history.
An iconic photo and image of baseball greats Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig next to Boys Town founder Father Edward Flanagan during their visit to the village in 1927. And it's that visit that is at the center of a campaign to attract more tourists to Boys Town this summer.
Many people remember them as their sports heroes, and they are big supporters of Boys Town. Once they came and visited, they became lifetime supporters of Boys Town.
Historian Thomas Lynch has been at Boys Town for nearly 40 years. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge about pretty much everything on this sprawling campus of hundreds of acres. From the Hall of History to Father Flanagan's home to the Dowd Chapel, where Flanagan's crypt sits in its own section in the back. Yet managers believe too many people in Omaha drive by on the Dodge Expressway and never really stop to see this gem in our community.
Here in Omaha, many people don't quite understand they can come visit Boys Town, and when they do, they're just amazed. We've started a campaign to do that. You see billboards throughout the Omaha community. We've developed our app. People can come in and visit the village year-round.
By now, you likely know the story of Father Flanagan buying the Overlook Farm in West Omaha in 1921. To educate, house, and reform wayward boys of all faiths. The famous movie in 1938 featuring Spencer Tracy and Mickey Rooney. Girls have actually been going here since the late 1970s. In fact, many statues have been changed out on campus to reflect that.
Boys Town is a very unique community. We have guests coming to visit, learn about our history, and then we have people coming in every day to partake in our services. We have medical programs here, counseling programs. So every day there's hundreds of people coming into the village of Boys Town for different reasons.
So as the new school year approaches, the Boys Town motto, "The work continues," hits home at one of the largest nonprofit and family care organizations in the country. A simple day trip for sightseeing right in our own backyard. On your side, Craig Negrelli, 6 News.
In 1985, Boys Town was designated as a National Historical Landmark in the state of Nebraska. There's currently a strong push in the Catholic Church to make Father Flanagan a saint.